Welcome to Frank Bruno Law. I'm Frank Bruno. I'm an elder law. I'm a probate. I'm a guardianship attorney in New York. Today's topic, I want to speak about estate planning. And something I was thinking about is that sometimes we put a plan for a client into place, and then they never use that plan, or the plan doesn't go as we thought it might. So, for example, a person leaves certain specific bequests, the sum of $50,000 to this person, and this property to that person, and even if it's their children or spouse or relatives. And then when the appointed time arrives, the house had already been sold. So there's no house to give. And money had been transferred to a trust, or it had been spent. So the $50,000 is no longer there. So sometimes the plan, as written, doesn't come to fruition because of circumstances, life events, things have changed, and the plan didn't keep pace. But I'd like to mention that's still okay, because in the period of time that from when the plan was written and executed and put into place, for that time period, from then all the way until, I don't know, 2 years, 10 years, 25 years later, the person had something in place that could have been effective until it no longer was. Sometimes I like to fracture sentences. What I mean by that is, in my example, I said that there was a house that might have been sold. Well, from the point in time that the will or the estate plan was prepared, was executed, was completely made valid and put into effect, if that house wasn't sold for many years, well, the entirety of that time, the plan was effective. It's only because people have free will and the ability, they're not stuck with what the will says, right? They didn't have to save that $50,000 to go to the nephew or the niece. They were able to spend it down to zero, right? Which is we would like a person to have full autonomy to change their plan and to live their life. So the plan that we put into place should be a flexible plan. It should not be a plan that we are stuck with. Rather, it should be a plan that works with our life, is flexible enough with our life, and is more benefit than not. Had a consult today with a husband and wife, and they have 2 young children. One of the children has special needs, so a child with special needs, a child that hasn't been identified with any specific needs. And the issues were, how do we best plan for our estate plan, thinking about what we can do for the benefit of our child, and perhaps needing access to government programs. So today was only the initial consultation, so we did discuss. And you have to keep things in perspective, right? So when we think about how we should best plan to, take our assets, what we have, what we've worked for, and pass it on to the next generation, are we looking at how to distribute assets with the least tax consequence? Is that a concern because of the amount of assets and the character and nature of those assets? Or, period, not or. Is that our main consideration, or is our main consideration protecting and preserving assets so that we can access government programs? That's an individual choice, but that's some of the framework that we look at each specific situation. Estate planning is fact-specific, needs-driven, and what are you looking for, and what is the best of several possible options. I can help you go through that process. Reach out to me. Well, I wanted to talk about the interplay between guardianship and estate planning. In my office, we handle both areas, and sometimes the office will be representing family members simply because they didn't think in advance and get a power of attorney. And sometimes we need to take on a task or a role for a person that has become incapacitated. And before we can take any steps, since there is no power of attorney, we need to file and obtain the permission and authority of the court to be the guardian for the person. That might involve something to do with a hospital, medical care. It could have to do with filing a Medicaid application or taking steps that you need to take in estate planning to legally, permissibly safeguard assets. Right? That's why we have to do that. So, in estate planning, if you could plan in advance, mostly, not all the time, but mostly you could avoid having to do a guardianship. Everybody needs an estate plan. So no matter what stage or age you're at, stage of life or age, your physical age, every person needs a plan. Now, we know that the unexpected can occur. The last 25 months have proven that a pandemic can come out of the blue. And I'm not even a doomsayer. We physically know, we know in our gut that this happened, right? So I'm not doomsaying anyone. I'm not even saying you need an elaborate plan, but you do need a plan. The people that have a plan can focus on spending time with their loved ones and the loved ones spending time with them and not being concerned about lack of a plan. And at a basic level, people need a power of attorney, a healthcare proxy, a living will, a last will and testament, and possibly a trust. Probably a trust, depending on, what assets you have and why you need it. A trust can avoid the probate process, and it's a private document. It also eliminates the cost of probate. That's a revocable living trust, the type where you can be your own trustee. It guards against incapacity. It sets up a plan. It gives you a distribution structure. How are you going to pass your asset on to the next generation, and in what way? And if you need Medicaid asset protection, then you could use an irrevocable trust, meaning taking your assets legally, permissibly, and sheltering them, putting them out of reach of the government or creditors or predators. That's what we need. If you have any need for this, and you do, if you want to talk about it, if you just want a will, call me. Let's talk about why you should have a will, at the very least, or why you may need something more. And I'm not a, heavy sales. I'll give you the pros and cons of all of the methods that I employ, and you make the decision. Right? It's your life, your estate plan. It's what you want to do. It's your family. And I'm here to facilitate that. So if you'd like to speak about this, please give me a call. I'm going to riff a little bit. I was driving to a backyard family party. Did I fix my color? I was driving to a backyard family party today, and as I was driving, I thought of an idea for a video. And the idea was I came up with the title, and I figured I'd work through some ideas. And the idea was, the title is Estate Planning is a Gift for Your Family. And really I was thinking about peace of mind and the ability to know what your parents or your deceased loved one wanted you to do, or how that person wanted the family to, take care of things. And today, while I was at this family party, I was speaking to someone that shared with me a story that her father had passed away a number of years ago, and he was in the middle of a divorce from his second wife. So in this story, her mother and father were divorced, and he had been in a long-term marriage with his second partner, and they were in the middle of a divorce, and then he passed away. And because he passed away, and not having finalized the divorce and not having any will, the house, the home that had been jointly owned, and the bank accounts all went to her stepmother. And really what she shared with me is that the information that I share is valuable and really very important. And she said since this event in her life, she has always advised friends and family, and in the sharing of that experience, that a person should have an estate plan. So really it dovetailed with my own thought. I may further expand on the thoughts of estate planning as a gift for your family. But in fact, this story really drives it home. You need an estate plan at whatever stage of life you're at. And taking into account the circumstances that you have. If you need any assistance, reach out to me. I wanted to promote the website, Frank Bruno Law, and the content that's there. 7 steps of the probate process, how to pick a guardian, information about real estate, buying and selling your property if you're in an estate. Wanted to promote the fact that weekly I do a newsletter. I have a subscription list, and I send it out, and it has a couple of 100 words content, give a couple of quotes, give a link to my social media accounts, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and what else do I do? Give a couple of quotes, give some information, give a link to the webinar, and that's about it. So we have plenty of content. frankbrunolaw.com. I have more than I think it's 150 blog posts. I have transcripts of videos and a lot of videos. If you'd like to speak with me about these type of things, estate planning, avoiding guardianship, protecting your assets, right? And having peace of mind. If you'd like to discuss that with me, please go to frankbrunolaw.com.